So you have your first race coming up, or you're about to do the longest training run you've ever done, and you want to know what you need to eat to keep yourself going during that long run. Well, you'll hear all the time that carbs are the way to go, but you also hear that carbs are really bad for you. So why do runners need it to fuel their bodies for long runs? We're going to get into all of that, so stay tuned. Hi, welcome to Temple Running, where we are here to help you enhance your temple, which is your mind and your body, through your souls. So today we're going to talk about something that is very important for runners. What fuel do I need to keep my body going? Because we send our bodies through some huge challenges when we set running goals. So we need to just make sure that we give it everything it needs to perform at its best. To cover this subject would take many episodes. So today we're going to cover a small portion, and probably one that is most popular amongst runners, and we're going to cover carbs. Carbs are such an important part. They fuel our bodies. They are the fuel that keeps our bodies and our brains functioning. But before we get into it, I want you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you are not already subscribed. Hit the like button if you like this video, and also comment and let me know what you think and give me your experience, because that's a big thing here at Temple Running. It's not just about my experience. So please get in the comments and tell us what you think. So let's get into it. Now, carbs are our primary source of energy. They help us during the run, and they help us recover from the run. But not all carbs are created equal. Carbs get a bad name, but there are a lot of unrefined, minimally processed carbs that should definitely be a part of your diet. So before we move on, I'm going to throw this out there, and I'll probably say it again at the end because it's very important. The information that I'm giving you now is just facts and data points to help you make decisions. All of us have different makeups, and we have different things that will drive our bodies. It is up to you during your training to figure out what combination of foods that you like and your body likes, and what helps you run most efficiently. I will tell you, out of the 45 half marathons I have done and the countless 5Ks, 10Ks, I have done different things in my training, and I feel like I found what works for me, and I'll share that information throughout this video, but it does not mean that it's an all-inclusive solution. There is no all-inclusive solution. So please just take this information and then try some different things that fit your taste and also that your body likes and makes it run most efficiently. So your muscle cells have two primary sources. Now it looks like four. Have two primary sources of fuel, and that is fats and sugars. So when you take in carbs, your body breaks those carbs down into a simple glucose, which is a form of sugar. And that glucose circulates in your bloodstream and powers your cells. And what's not used is stored in your liver and muscles, and then used when those simple glucose levels start to deplete. You want to make sure you have enough carbs in your system when you're going out for a long run, because if the carbs are not present, then your body starts to burn protein and fat. And your body takes so much more to burn those for sources of energy that it will make you sluggish and it will make you drag. They are not efficient sources of energy for your runs. Carbs provide immediate energy, which is why they are included in most goos, gels, and sports drinks. And they also all have a lot of sugar. Those kinds of sugars will not go for the long haul. If you consume too much at one setting, your body can't even consume it all. And so guess what it turns into? What we don't want. It turns into fat. And so that's where complex carbs come in. This would be your pastas and breads and all that stuff you don't eat on a regular basis. But the day before a race, you get to have, it's like a special treat, for the fact that you're going to get out there and run for 2 hours straight the next morning, 2+ hours straight the next morning, depending on the length of your race. So this is one of the benefits of running, right? If you're running over 90 minutes, you should definitely have some complex carbs in your system. Complex carbs are slow releasing. They take longer to be absorbed by the body and provide sustained energy during exercise. So let's talk about what carbs are best for before, during, and after a run. So I know about this myth of carb loading. I do it before every race. I usually, the night before a race, I will go to Olive Garden and I get the fettuccine Alfredo with Alfredo sauce instead of the red sauce. But the red sauce is better. So point taken, in my research, I found that out. And then I get the chicken Parmesan and I get the breadsticks because that's even more. So that is a pretty carb-loaded meal. But I just make sure that during the week I get some carbs in all my meals, like, 2 or 3 days leading up to the race. So you want to be strategic about your carb loading. It's not eat a whole pound of spaghetti noodles the night before the race. That is not the best way to do it. You want to give yourself a little 2 or 3 days leading up to it. And then the night before, if you want to have you a carb heavy meal, it's not going to hurt you because your body is already getting used to it. It already has some reserve in the tank, and you're not just trying to stuff everything in the tank at the last minute. You're just kind of topping it off. So be sure to strategically carb load during the week before your long run. So some pre-race foods. I talked about carb loading the night before, so you can do pastas. Sweet potatoes is also another one to have the night before. And then on the morning of, you want to make sure that you eat 1 to 4 hours before your race. Now me, with the races starting, being on the start line at 7:30 a.m. usually, or somewhere around that time, I'm not up 4 hours before my race. So my loading usually takes place, or my pre-race food usually takes place in the car on my way driving to the race. I usually do probably, I would say, an estimate of 1 to 2 hours before I actually start running do I eat my food. But that doesn't mean that's going to work for you. It doesn't mean that you can't eat 30 minutes before the run and be fine. It's just what I do for me. So they say that most runners is about 2 to 3 hours, but like I said, I can do about 1 to 2 hours. Some good foods that are great for your pre-race snack or your breakfast in the morning before a run. Bananas are phenomenal. They are great fuel. Bananas are actually good in all 3 stages, before, during, and after the race, depending on how far you're going on the during. But they are just an excellent source of energy, and it's so immediate. So bananas are a good one. Oatmeal is a great breakfast food before you come out. I hear bagels and cream cheese is good. Again, test all these out during a training run. You don't want to be trying something new the morning of your race. Dried fruit is a good one, and that one's good also in other stages. I'll talk about that in a little while. But what I like to eat, and some people do white bread with some jelly or something on it. I like to do the raisin bread, the cinnamon raisin bread. One day I think I was out of crackers or I was out of town, and all I had was my kids' cinnamon raisin bread, and I put some peanut butter on it, and I went out there and I felt great. I was like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. This is now my pre-game food. So like I said, sometimes it's by accident, but this whole thing is trial and error. You're just trying stuff and you're trying to figure out what works best for you. And before I finish talking about pre-race food, this is something that I have never tried, but I hear many of my runner friends talk about it. A lot of runners use their pre-game food of a peanut butter sandwich with bananas on it. So I talked about how awesome bananas are, and I talked about how awesome my peanut butter and crackers or my peanut butter and bread is, but they put it all together. And so if your taste buds can take all that at once, that's something you may want to try, because they say it's an excellent source of energy, and I can imagine that it would be. But I like my peanut butter sandwich and banana separate. Okay, so during the race, this is an excellent time for those sports drinks and goos and gels and chomps and all those extra little things that you buy and put in your little belt when you're doing a long run. During a run is perfect time. Some people don't want to do those kind of processed options. So in that case, you can do stuff like dried fruit. Really, on a lot of race courses, they have oranges along the way. They have bananas along the way. You want to get some of those fast acting, simple sugars that are going to give you the boost of energy pretty quickly. So that's what you want to do during a run. But I will tell you, as I've been saying over and over, because it's really like one of the most important things in this video, please train with whatever you want to try. Do not let someone hand you something you've never tried before on race day. I have done it, and I will tell you. I'm going to tell you this quick story. I have to let this out because it's so important. So I had a race in Dallas, the Rock and Roll Dallas. The weekend before, I had PR'd in the Montgomery, I think it was Montgomery. It might have been the Prattville half, but it was somewhere in the Montgomery area. I did a half marathon and I PR'd. It was excellent. I felt wonderful. So I'm like, I'm going to kill Dallas. So I go to Dallas and I'm ready. And I have a friend who worked for a energy type company. I'm not going to name the company because I don't want people to think like this company is bad. It was just my reaction to what I took. And so she's like, I'm like, people take that to run? So she said, yeah, we do running expos all the time and runners love this stuff. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, I've taken it before, leisurely. So maybe it will help my run. And I took it. And I will tell y'all, my first 5 miles, I was floating on air. It felt wonderful. I hit the 5-mile mark and it was all downhill. I could not get my body to run. It was so weird. I have never had anything like that happen before. I could not get my body to run. I had to struggle through those last 8 miles. When I tell you, I probably ran 2 out of the last 8 miles and the rest of it I was walking. Damn! So that was a hard lesson learned. Please don't learn it like I did, because people told me before, don't ever do that. And I did it and it was terrible. So don't ever take something, even if it's something as little as a goo or a gel or a different flavor goo or gel than the one you've tried. Don't do it on race day. All right. So after the run, your post-run recovery, your diet is still very important. A lot of people like to have a victory meal where they go and have a Five Guys burger, or they go and they have something really outlandish that they don't normally eat because they burned all these calories before the sun even came up. And so they got calories to burn for the day. That is not the smartest thing to do for your recovery. You still need to put the proper things in your body so that it can get better and replenish from after you put it through something that as strenuous as running for hours straight. Chipotle is my place that I go to after a run, but it also has a lot of things in it that I need for recovery. So it has a lot of protein, it has a lot of carbs, but it's the good stuff, the good carbs and the good proteins that I need. But after a run, like when you come across that finish line, there's usually different stations giving you stuff. I'm going to tell you, I go straight looking for the chocolate milk. That is my favorite recovery. That is my favorite recovery item that I like to get after a run. Chocolate milk, it makes me feel good. It tastes good. I can tell that my body likes it as I'm consuming it. It's what my body needs after running for hours. So that's one that I would definitely recommend you try if you're able to eat dairy, drink dairy like that. Chocolate milk is great. But along with that, we still got our bananas that are great. Berries are very great. Plain yogurt is outstanding. A smoothie is a really good way to get those replenishing sugars. A sandwich with a side of fruit or some watermelon or some grapes fruit is just really good for replenishing after a run. So a lot of times they have the little fruit cups when you cross the finish line. Some of the things they give you after the finish line are actually very good race recovery things, and some of it is just sponsors trying to give their stuff out to see if you like it. You're going to have to make the determination of what will be good for you to eat right now and what will be good for you to save for later, because all of the stuff that they give you after a race is not for your recovery. It's not good for your recovery. So keep that in mind. All right, so that's carbs in a nutshell, and I mean a nutshell because I don't want to make this video too long and drawn out, but I just wanted to give you those high points and give you a few recommendations to try, because that's one of the top questions I get from new runners when they find out that I'm an experienced runner, is what do I eat before a race and what do I eat after a race, and sometimes what do I eat during a race. So hopefully this gave you some ideas of how to do that. And what you should be trying as you're training so that you'll be ready for that big race day, or you'll be ready for that long training run, because training is not fun when you don't have the energy to do it. So you want to fuel your body properly so that you can be most efficient in your training. So I'm going to end this with that same thing I started with. This is not a set plan. There is no set plan that I can give you on what to eat before, during, or after a run. You have to do trial and error and make the determination for what works best for you. So hopefully some of these tips will help you get there, and then you will be running as efficiently as you feel like you need, and your body will be getting the proper fuel for what you are trying to do. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe. I upload videos every Wednesday, but sometimes I'll put little bonuses in between during the week. So if you want to make sure you catch that, also hit that bell so they'll notify you every time I upload a video. Please check out my blog on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. The links are all below. Thank you for watching Temple Running with MJ Smith, and I'll catch you next time.